Yikes. What's going on, Kings? The worst duelist here. Did you see what I did there? So today I'm coming at you guys with the Shannon Long Turbo, the pure Mekk-Knight deck list. This is actually something that I would have liked to put on the channel a bit sooner, but I just never got around to putting all the cards together. Mostly was just waiting for new sleeves, but this is actually one of my favorite decks. I've actually been on this deck for quite some time now. For the longest time, I used to play this in tournaments, back whenever locals was still open, at least my main locals, but unfortunately that is not available right now. However, if I was going to go to a real event, maybe like a regional or something even above that level, I would probably take this deck with me, just because I like the whole feel of the strategy, but also just the always going second thing, not really caring about die roll, and if I have to go first, we have good options there as well. Overall, I just think this is quite a versatile deck, and you know, we don't care about things like Zexal, we don't care about things like Dragoon, we definitely don't care about Union Lock. I mean, there's just, the list goes on for why I think this deck is great and a great pick in general. But yeah, so let's just dig on into the profile. Alright, so starting off the profile, we have the triple Girsu and the one Avram. I don't think I need to explain this card as much as I've talked about that card on this channel, but you play the normal because really just like going first. It helps you make a column with the Link Spider, and yeah, there's really not much more that goes into that. He does also come in handy. The 2K body is kind of relevant sometimes, and also check this out. So then next you have your searchers. You have your 3 Blue Sky and your 3 Purple Nightfall. The fact that the Purple Nightfall can just continuously come back over and over again as just always a threat your opponent has to deal with is nice. It's kind of one of those cards that they would like to immediately answer, but also because you're playing a going second deck, and because the way the deck functions, your opponent might not always want to stop this, which is good for you because you want to have your purples in rotation, of course, and then of course your Blue Sky can net you, you know, maximum 3 cards, can search you 3 cards. I mean, that's just insane. But yeah, not a whole ton to say about these guys either. They're just for consistency, and they're just powerful. Then you have your double Indigo. This guy's actually for control. His effects, funny enough, seems quite irrelevant. Whenever you like would read it like at face value, it seems quite terrible, but he just helps you control the game when we're going past your turn 1. Of course, you being the Mekk-Knight player going second, he can just kind of help lock your opponent out completely due to the nature of how the trap works, which is very nice. So yeah, Indigo Eclipse. Got 1 Red Moon and 1 Yellow Star. We're not playing the green one. The green one's alright. I mean, there was a time where I did play the green one, but I feel like it's just, there's not really much of a place for it anymore. The green one has a recursion ability, whereas these two can pop cards. He pops monsters in the same column, and this pops spell and traps in the same column. So yeah, that's quite valuable to have in a going second deck like this. Just being able to destroy your opponent's cards at will. It's another one of those things that can possibly force interruption, so that we can try to eventually build to like a Boral Sword kill you type game state. But so for the final 2 cards in the engine, we have the 1 World Legacy World Armor and the 1 World Legacy World Crown. So I'm playing 2 of these because obviously if you played 1, drawing it would be terrible. I mean, sure, you can discard it off Morningstar, but that's not always what we're trying to do here. Sometimes you want to get access to Lib first, so that when going second, we can get the shuffle off, we can get all of its effects off, which is nice. And of course, drawing the crown is definitely fine because it's an extender. It's also a negate, which is quite relevant. You could even just leave him there while you're trying to go second and like break the board, because of the crown says that if a monster from the extra deck activates its effects, so a special summon from the extra deck activates its effects, you can tribute this or destroy it or something, and you negate destroy, which is very nice. And I believe the World Armor has quite an insane effect if you normal summon it. If this normal summon or set card is on the field, quick effect, target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls that was special summon from the extra deck, return both that monster and this card to the hand. Right, so that's pretty cheeky, but you have to normal summon him for that effect. So moving on to hand traps, we have triple Gamma, 1 Driver, double Nibiru, and then we're playing the 3 Infinites. I feel like this is kind of a very standard hand trap lineup right now for just the current metagame. All of these cards are very solid. I feel like the Gamma is almost never a problem because we will always be going second. Of course, drawing Driver is always a looming issue, but you know, we'll never have to deal with those scenarios where fuck, I opened this going first, that's so bad. But If we do have to go first, I would recommend playing a Lambda in the extra deck. I unfortunately don't know where my Lambda is, which really sucks because Lambda's like almost $20 now, which is quite unfortunate. But I think I let someone borrow it a while back, and then that was just that. However, that is another option for you to have, because you can very easily set up a board state going first that is the World Legacy Secrets, an IP Masquerena, and a Lambda if we're holding Gamma in the hand. Of course, the problem with making a Lambda going first is basically telling your opponent that you have Gamma, so it makes it far easier to play around because it is so telegraphed. And yeah, so there's not really a ton to say about these cards. They're just very solid in their own right. So for just an additional 1-of, we play the 1 Pank. Really don't have to say anything about this card. It's probably just the best going second card in the whole game, which is why it's limited to 1. So moving on, we have just the spell and trap lineup. We have double succession, because again, just opening this is good, and then we can go ahead and set one off of the lib, so it is searchable in that right. But I feel like most of the time you'll want to be going for the traps to set off your lib and to search off your Morning Star. So that's kind of why I played 2, because we have the option to get the 1 out of deck, but we can also possibly raise our chances of drawing it. And I feel like 2-ofs in a going second build is a lot more reasonable, because of the fact that we're going to be getting that 6 card every time, unless of course our opponent makes us go first, which is very unlikely given the current state of Yu-Gi-Oh! So double succession. And then of course Reborn is just another one of those, so that's however this one's not searchable. The other one's once per turn. This card is broken, don't need to say anything about it. 1 Mind Control, breaking boards. I was thinking about adding Instant Fusion, but I never found room for it. I feel like there could be room in the extra deck, I just never found it. There's definitely cuttable cards though, for sure. So we have the triple World Legacy Memory. It's emergency teleport for Mekk-Knights, but it locks you into Mekk-Knights the rest of the turn, which is good and bad. I mean, Spectrum Supreme is a hell of a card, Avermax is a hell of a card, so we can more than likely just definitely get there with that restriction. But this card is just very powerful. Being able to get Indigo Eclipse, like setting it and getting Indigo Eclipse out of the deck, and then, you know, using his ability to move zones to just negate more cards is always nice. 1 World Legacy Key. This card says that whenever you activate it, you can target 1 Mekk-Knight that is banished, and then you add it to your hand, and then while this card is face up on the field, traps that activate in the same column as Mekk-Knight monsters have their effects negated, right? Yeah, specifically trap effects. So yeah, that's quite nice. And then for more of the Mekk-Knight sort of lockdown aspect of it, we have the double secret. This card says target a 5 or higher monster in your graveyard, and then you can special summon it to your side of the field. I believe in defense mode. No, you just special summon it, and then when this card leaves the field, you destroy that monster, of course, and then you negate any opponent's monster effects that activates in the same column as a Mekk-Knight. Of course, the real value behind this card is it's not just Mekk-Knight monsters, any 5 or higher, so we can get back cards like Pankratops, we can get back the World Legacy monsters if we so choose to, but really getting back Pank is really nice. So yeah, that is definitely your main kind of card if you don't kill your opponent, which honestly, a lot of the time you won't kill your opponent because you have to use a lot of resources to break a board, and sometimes you just honestly just can't even break a board. But you know, the goal is we're gonna try, and also going first, this is a very good option. But basically what I was trying to say is if you don't kill them, you always just try to set this up so you can try to control the game from there and just kind of lock them out and make it basically create like an unwinnable game state for your opponent. And the last card in that sort of right is the World Legacy Whispers. When this card is activated, you target 1 5 or higher monster. It gains 1,000 attack and defense, which is relevant. People will forget about that. It's quite funny. And then spell effects that activate in the same column as Mekk-Knight monster are negated. So we can basically, you know, lock out spells, traps, and we can lock out monsters with these 3. I mean, granted, you're never really going to need all 3. You can set up all 3, but then it's just kind of like, why are we even playing this game till anyway? However, you know, pendulum. That's definitely a thing. And the only real thing that I would like to possibly change in this deck is to add some sort of extra back row removal. It's like you don't want to play Lightning Storms, and you don't want to play like any sort of board wipe really at all, because you want your opponent to have cards so that you can build columns, so then you can play your cards. Of course, Lightning Storm has the stipulation that you cannot control face-up cards, which is kind of a major issue, and I feel like it goes against the grain of the Mekk-Knight deck. I don't know, I could be wrong because Lightning Storm is just so powerful against back row decks. But yeah, I was thinking maybe the 1 of Reboot could be nice because it makes them set another card so that you could gain another column, and it locks them out of their back row. So I don't know what I would cut. I feel like Mind Control is cuttable, World Legacy Succession is cuttable. So yeah, I had to play with it more. And the final card that I don't actually own is Triple Tactics Talent. So we're playing the Korean ones because we're poor. Shout out my boy Ryan Fletcher. Free my dude. Free Block Dragon. Just kidding. Don't do that. But yeah, fuck Machado. We're out here though. He is the boy, and he let us borrow these Korean ones so that I could have proxies not only for the videos, but also just for my playtesting, which is very nice. So don't need to explain this card. It's 3 banned cards. Me and my buddy were having a debate whether you play that or Droplets, and he says, you know, Droplet is just the better card in general, and I kind of agree with him just because Droplet is good going first and second. Tactics is something that needs to have a requirement met in order for me to activate the card. However, I feel like the fact that we're discarding cards off Droplet is kind of steep sometimes, just in the right that we need those cards to try to play through our opponent's board. Where, I mean, don't get me wrong, keeping literally just a Gear Soda Blue Sky can kind of just really get your whole engine going and just set everything up for you, but I digress. I just like the fact that we can take Dragoons and stuff with this and just do all kinds of fun stuff with that card. I think that's the main thing. I think the Tactics is just a more fun card to play, whereas the Droplet is obviously the more powerful card. So extra deck I'm not going to really spend a whole time on, because a lot of these cards are pretty self-explanatory. Link Spider for the normal, Lib for the combo, and it's just amazing in this deck, and the card is just amazing in general. 1 Masquerena for making things invincible, and also we can try to set up board states that are along the lines of like Morningstar, Masquerena, and Lib, and then we can go for, you know, a few things. We can do like Avermax and leave up the Morningstar, and then we get to shuffle a card, and then if they get out the Avermax, we can shuffle another card. Or really even just like doing a board state like this, I feel like is good enough with Trap, because then we can set up Morningstar, or not Morningstar, we can set up Avermax and we still get the shuffle, which is non-targeting, which is quite important for going first, and also just going second in general. It's really good. So we got those guys. We got double Morningstar. This is the one that everyone will forget about. Pretty much, if you attack a Mekk-Knight monster and you're not in the same column as it, I take no battle damage and the monster cannot be destroyed, which is really good. And of course, use a Searcher by discarding a Mekk-Knight monster, or I think it's a Mekk-Knight card or a World Legacy card on summon, and you can search a World Legacy spell or trap, or maybe it's just World Legacy card. I'm not sure. Guy is broken though. This is supposed to be a Galatea. Don't own the card. And then of course, there's supposed to be a Lambda here as well. So this is I only have 13 of the 15 cards, but you can play really any generic Link too. I just think Lambda is the best because we're playing Gamma in the deck. 1 Phoenix, 1 Unicorn. Don't need to explain those guys. Then we have the 1 Spectrum Supreme. If he is the only card in his column, he can attack directly. If he points to nothing, he cannot be destroyed by card effects and cannot be targeted, which is nice. And then the final effect on this card says that you can send 1 card in this card's column that I control to the grave, and then I can special summon a Mekk-Knight from my deck in defense position, which is always nice. This is definitely just one of those cards when we're locked into World Legacy memory that it's just something really easy to just shit out. He's got that protection effect. Granted, he's definitely been power creeped at this point, but I still like to include the 1 Spectrum Supreme. The 1 Soldier of Chaos, because obvious reasons, kill your opponent. He's just really good and beats Rogue. Avermax is just one of those cards that is just like, for some reason, it's a Mekk-Knight and a Crustadium monster, so it has really good synergy here, and also he's just broken boy. Borload, because he outs things. Boral Sword to kill you, and Ding for Galatea, and also we can use 2 8s if we have to, but really that doesn't come up too much anymore, seeing as how we have Gearsu being an Orcus monster. You could probably get away with playing Crescendo in this deck. I just choose not to. But yeah, that's really all I got. That's the Mekk-Knight deck. I've actually wanted to get this out for a while, just never put all the cards together. I was honestly waiting until I got new sleeves. So yeah, that's that. Let me know what you guys think down below, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, Kings.